KBS World.
Delivering today's Korea to the world, it is Friday, August 11th, here in Seoul. And News Today starts now.
Heavy rain brought about by Typhoon Khanun caused some parts of Daegu to be submerged. A 67-year-old man died after being swept away by strong current, and a 60-year-old man is reported missing. DP Chair Lee Jae-myung is summoned to appear before prosecution for the fourth time on August 17th. This time he will be grilled about the Baekhyun-dong land development project. The main opposition leader said the prosecution is bent on bringing him down whenever the current administration is in crisis. An 8-year-old Korean girl was kidnapped in a residential area in the Philippines. With local Koreans posting helpful info on social media and the Korean consulate in Cebu working with local police, the girl was rescued unharmed and the suspect was detained 7 hours after the crime was committed.
Welcome back. I'm Chae Kyu-yeon, and we start off with the top stories. Typhoon Khanun has swept through the Korea peninsula, bringing with it heavy rainfall. As a result, a levee broke, flooding a village and causing powerful currents. In Daegu, one individual has been confirmed dead, with another reported missing.
An entire village is submerged in muddy water. Rescue workers are conducting a search operation in a boat, but it's hard to tell if it's a road or a field. This village in Gunigun County, Daegu, became submerged at around Thursday noon. A levee where 3 streams joined collapsed in a matter of seconds as the streams overflowed due to some 100 millimeters of rain.
저희들이 한 번 더 각각 집을 이렇게 방문한 그런 상황입니다. 다 신원이 확인될 때까지 계속 추가 수색을 할 예정입니다.
Most of the 10 households in the village had been evacuated early on, but a 67-year-old man was swept away by the current. He was found unresponsive under a bridge about 500 meters from the village 1 hour after it was inundated. The man was taken to hospital but eventually passed away. Although the situation was serious enough and a flood warning had been issued, the man evacuated too late.
마을 주민들이 1차 대피할 때 대피를 안 하셔가지고 이장님이 다시 두 번째로 전화상으로 빨리 나오시다가 이제 물에
In Dalsunggun County, Daegu, a man in his 60s who left his home in an electric wheelchair has been reported missing. When rescue workers arrived at the scene, they only found the wheelchair in a ditch leading to a valley. Fire authorities have mobilized staff to look for the missing man. Typhoon Khanun, which crossed Korea vertically, has left human casualties.
In the eastern coast of Gangwon-do province, due to Typhoon Khanun, over 300 millimeters of rain fell, submerging urban areas and leaving residents stranded amid significant damages.
Downtown Sokcho was pummeled with a sudden downpour in the afternoon. A firefighter carries an old lady on his back to rescue her from a flooded alleyway. A car is abandoned on the road, half submerged in muddy water. People living in flooded homes desperately call for help.
여기 지금 소방차가 있어야 되잖아. 소방차가 이거 좀 물을 빼려면 그렇죠. 이 지금 저 지금 물에 지금 집들이 다 지금 물이 다 차잖아. 비만 오면 매번 잠긴다고요.
The northern Gangwon region, where cities such as Sokcho, Gosong, and Yangyang are located, was devastated by a downpour of up to 90 millimeters per hour. Reports of flooded roads and homes poured in from Gangwon City, such as Gangneung, Donghae, and Samcheok. This road was turned into a raging river, stranding tourists on vacation.
차가 이쪽으로 나가야 되는데 아예 빠지지 못해요. 그래서 지금 꼼짝도 못하고 있고 놀러 왔다가 휴가 왔다가 지금 갇혀서 있네요.
Given the topographical characteristic of the northeastern region, where a giant mountain range stretches along the coast, heavy rain continued to batter the area since early on in the ascending trajectory of the typhoon. More than 400 millimeters of rain pelted the city of Sokcho over the past 2 days. Most of the eastern Gangwon region experienced over 300 millimeters of rain. Even after the rain stops, the regional residents must brace for mudslides and soil loss caused by the weakened foundation.
Prosecutors probing the Baekhyun-dong favoritism scandal requested Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung to appear for questioning on the 17th of August. Lee may also be summoned related to allegations that Sangbangul Group transferred money to North Korea. Lee decried these moves as state violence through baseless accusations.
Main opposition Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung has been questioned by prosecutors 3 times so far in connection to the Daejangdong land development scandal and allegations related to the Seongnam City Football Club.
지금처럼 포토라인 플래시가 장렬하는 이 공개 소환 회술래 같은 수치입니다.
He will appear before the prosecution for the 4th time on August 17th to be grilled about the Baekhyundong land development project. He is summoned as a suspect on charges of breach of trust. The opposition chief, while serving as Seongnam mayor in 2015, is accused of making changes to land use terms in order to exclude Seongnam Development Corporation from the project and reduce the supply of private rental homes. Such measures were allegedly meant to benefit private companies who, as a result, raked in profits of some 300 billion won. Prosecutors believe the largest shareholder of the builder, surnamed Chung, relayed such concerns on the project to E's close aide and then policy chief at Seongnam City Hall, Chung Jin-sang, through businessman Kim In-sub, who formerly served in E's mayoral campaign. Prosecutors suspect E was involved in this process. Reacting to the summons, E said the prosecution is bent on bringing him down whenever the current administration is in crisis, and argued that history and the Korean people would hand down judgment.
정권의 무능을 감추기 위한 정치 수사라고 생각합니다. 없는 죄를 만들어 뒤집어 씌우는 것이 가장 큰 국가 폭력입니다.
He could face yet another summons sometime this month related to another case involving alleged cash payment made to North Korea by Stangbangul Group. Prosecutors are expected to consider both cases, the Baekhyundong and cash payment scandal, in deciding whether to file for a warrant to arrest E.
Representative Chung Jin-seok of the People Power Party has been sentenced to 6 months in prison for defaming the late President Roh Moo-hyun. While he avoided immediate detention, Chung could lose his parliamentary seat if the verdict stands. He intends to appeal.
It was back in September of 2017 when the late President Roh Moo-hyun's family sued then Liberty Korea Party representative Chung Jin-seok. Chung was accused of writing on his social media that the late president had took his own life following a fight with his wife after he was investigated by the prosecution over a bribery charge. This claim followed an argument about political retaliation with Democratic Party members over the investigation of former President Lee Myung-bak. The prosecution summarily indicted Chung for 5 million won in fine 5 years later, but the court exercised its authority to hold an official trial and yesterday sentenced him to 6 months in prison. The court explained Chung's posting had no factual grounds and constitutes a malicious or very careless attack and thus cannot be protected under the freedom of expression. Also, the late president's family wished for heavy punishment as a crude and definitive expression seriously damaged the reputation of the former first couple. However, the court did not take him into custody in court since the detainment of a lawmaker should be done prudently. Chung said he was baffled by the unexpected ruling and vowed to file an appeal.
이게 실형이 선고된 거에 대해서 받아들일 수가 없다. 다분히 감정이 섞인 판단이다.
If yesterday's ruling is upheld in the Supreme Court, Chung could lose his seat in the National Assembly.
Now updates on the Pundang department store stabbing. Choi Won-jong, now facing murder charges, made his first public appearance since his identity was disclosed. While expressing remorse, he maintains he's a victim of group stalking.
Short hair, unshaven face. Choi Won-jong appeared in front of reporters for the first time since he was transferred to prosecutors and his identity was disclosed. He apologized to the victims.
사망한 피해자분들께 애도의 말씀 드리고 사망한 피해자 유가족들분들께 정말 죄송하다고 말씀드리고 싶습니다.
Choi said he would write a letter of apology in the detention center. But when asked why he committed such a heinous crime, he repeated he was a victim of group stalking. As his rhetoric on stalking continued, the police tried to restrain him.
제 집 주변에 조직 스토킹 스토커들이 많이 있다고 생각했거든요. 그래가지고 제 집 주변에 있던 사람들을
Police have concluded that Choi committed the crime because of paranoia over being stalked by someone, as he spent most of his time in isolation and only kept in touch with his family.
지인들과 교류하거나 그런 부분이 특별하게 확인되진 않았습니다.
Police tried conducting a psychopathy test on the subject, but evaluating him in terms of interpersonal relationships and emotional problems turned out to be impossible due to his schizoid personality disorder. Prosecutors have set up a team of 5 investigators to further investigate the case. They have also promised support for the victim and her bereaved family.
Yesterday in Cebu, the Philippines, a Korean expatriate's child was abducted in broad daylight, concealed in a travel suitcase. With the swift response of South Korea's embassy and local police, the child was safely returned to their family.
An 8-year-old Korean girl was kidnapped in a residential area in Cebu, Philippines. Her parents found through security camera footage that a man in his 30s entered their house and abducted the girl by placing her in a large suitcase. The suspect moved the suitcase for hundreds of meters before entering a parking lot and disappearing in a silver vehicle.
아이가 들어오기 전에 미리 집에 들어와서 대기를 하고 있다가 미리 준비를 해서 캐리어 큰 걸 갖다가 이 범인이 들어왔을 때는 캐리어가 없었어요. 캐리어를 끌고 나왔어요. 엄청나게 무겁게.
Local Koreans posted the news on social media and disclosed the license plate number of the car used in the crime. Upon receiving the report of kidnapping, the Korean consulate in Cebu immediately contacted local police to locate the suspect's vehicle. About 7 hours after the incident at around 8 p.m., the suspect was apprehended and the girl was rescued unharmed. Sources say she was taken to the hospital to seek medical help and was found to have suffered from immense shock. The girl's family thanked the Korean consulate for its swift actions, which played a crucial role in bringing their daughter back home safely.
Jamboree participants who moved to 8 regions to evade the typhoon are now assembling at the Seoul World Cup Stadium for their closing ceremony and a K-pop concert. Preparations are in full swing to guarantee a safe event.
The Seoul World Cup Stadium has a capacity of 60,000. Stage installations are well underway for the World Scout Jamboree's closing ceremony and a K-pop concert scheduled for Friday evening. The World Organization of the Scout Movement and government officials are conducting on-site inspections, while weather forecasters are also on standby to share real-time climate information.
현장에 설치된 무대 장치와 시설물 등에 피해가 발생하지 않도록 꼼꼼하게 점검하고 있으며
The closing ceremony begins at 5:30 p.m. and the concert at 7. The concert lineup includes some of the biggest names in K-pop such as New Jeans, NCT Dream, ITZY, Mamamoo, and IVE, who is the latest addition after once being ruled out due to scheduling conflict. The Scouts arrive at the stadium from 2 p.m. and are seated on the stands and ground seats. Civilian guides and some 800 police and fire personnel are deployed to prevent safety accidents.
걱정하는 부모님들을 먼저 생각했을 때 자식들이 조금 더 좋은 추억을 만들고 갔으면 좋겠다는 마음으로 일을 하러 오게 되었습니다.
4 on-site clinics are set up. Ambulances are standing by to transport patients to nearby hospitals. 30 mobile laboratories are set up and 200 cleaning crews are mobilized.
대원들이 폐영식이 끝난 후 콘서트 전에 저녁 식사를 할 수 있도록 상온 보관이 가능한 식사 패키지도 제공합니다.
Jamboree participants who earlier evacuated to 8 cities and provinces enjoyed indoor programs for the whole of Thursday, prepared by local governments and private organizations to stay clear of Typhoon Khanun.
And that is all we have for your news today. Thanks for joining us. We will see you again at the same time Monday. Have a great weekend.